We're now going to be recognizing the limitations of our Autowired annotation. Previously, we've talked highly about them, but there are limitations. However, there are also ways to get around these limitations. So, looking at our previous code that we've done before, it's in the playlist link below the like button, we're going to be modifying a few things. So, the first thing that we're going to want to do to demonstrate this is we're going to go into our car.java. Now, inside of here, we're going to comment out our Autowire for the variable here. We're also going to comment it out for what we had it here before for the constructor. What we want is to have it in our setter for our engine, and that should be right here, or actually it's right here for the set engine. This is the get engine, this is the set engine. Big difference, and we're going to come back to this qualifier later, so you don't need to pay attention to that right now. Right now we have auto-wired, and this also required false. We're going to come back to it later as well. Now, if we go to our main and we run it, we are going to get the following output: default constructor, setting engine and car, and then we set all this here. This is nothing new. Now, let's say, well, we have a Tesla, right? And Teslas, they run on electricity. So we don't need an engine. Well, let's see what happens if we take this out. If we take this out, we go to our main and we run it, we are actually going to get a unsatisfied dependency error. And this comes from this top part right here. Gives us some more information about it that you can read right here. But basically what it's saying is that since we have an auto-wired the engine in the car, there is an expectation that there's going to be an engine being available to attach to the car. So basically we have the setter right here, and this setter, because it's auto-wired, it needs to set. So it's going to look for something, a bean inside of here to set it to. However, it can't find one. There's literally nothing inside of here that it can do it for. So this is what gives us the dependency error. If we still want to have a Tesla, we can tweak the Autowire annotation. So we're going to head to our car.java and pass an argument telling that it's okay to be false. So inside of here, we're going to have required, and we're going to set it equal to false or true. True is default. False is when we're saying this does not have to be true. So let's try to run it again and see if we get that error. Well, if we run it now, we're just going to see that our engine is set to null, which is the default case when required is false and there's nothing to have in it. Now, let's actually go in and put our engine back in here. So let's say we have an engine bean, it runs on magic, it is a magic car. What's going to happen? Well, if we add this back, we can see that this still works right here. We're going to place this back because that required equals false is basically saying it's not required to, but we're still going to check if this bean is there. So what if we have another type of engine we can choose from? So what if instead we have engine Lamborghini? Love Lamborghinis. So we have two types of engine here, right? Well, what's going to happen if we have two beans inside of here? Well, it's going to give us another error. And this error is a little bit different. We can scroll all the way down here, and it's going to tell us it's expected a single match but found two. That's because it only expects a single bean, but we're giving it two to choose from, and it doesn't know what to choose from. So it's like freaking out a little bit. That's the error, doesn't know what to choose from. We can solve for this, but that's a separate annotation, where we're going to have the setter annotation look for a specific ID to use. So let's copy the engine Lamborghini ID. We're going to go into our car, and we want to have a qualifier statement here. We have AutoWire, the next part is our qualifier. So inside of here, we're going to do at, and then a qualifier. And then inside of here, we're going to have parentheses, and then we're going to have quotation marks because it's a specific bean we're looking for. We're going to paste in our name here, engine Lamborghini, and at the top, we can see that we've added an import statement for our qualifier. The qualifier removes any ambiguity when multiple beans of matching types are located by the IOC container. Basically, it's saying that we're looking at this by name, not by type, which is what our auto-wired does. So this is on our setter. If we are to run this now, it's going to be Lamborghini. Now, we can always change this, configure this however we want. Super cool, super useful. But that is the limitations to auto-wired annotation, recognizing them and going around them. In the next video, in the playlist link below the like button, we're going to focus on auto-wiring with a Java bean configuration.